Maryville, Missouri on Catholic Radio Network. A first-time caller, Becca. You get that virtual bell. Welcome.
Hi, hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly,
Very
Becca.
well.
Okay, yeah, so my name is Becca, and I'm calling from Maryville, Missouri. I'm actually a student at Northwest Missouri State University, and I'm 21 years old. I just happened to turn on the radio station after work and heard that we could call in and give, some of our heart and the relationship that we have with Christ. And I just wanted to tell everyone a little bit about the experiences that I've had with living out the Catholic faith in college. So I was actually raised Catholic. My parents were really incredible at, helping us live out the Catholic faith, always brought us to Mass, encouraged prayer. But during college is really when I realized that I had to give a strong answer to the Lord and to practicing the Catholic faith, because I'm sure as many of you know, it's kind of difficult to be a strong practicing Catholic on a college campus. And so, about my freshman year, I ended up going to a conference that was put on through Focus, which is the Fellowship of Catholic University Students. And I had a really deep and profound moment with the Lord in the Holy Eucharist, and when I really realized, this is Jesus Christ, and, this is what I believe. And it just completely changed my entire life and my thought process and how I wanted to live. And I can wholeheartedly say that, without the community that I have here on my campus and without other students who practice the Catholic faith, and with my relationship with Jesus, this whole time with the coronavirus and everything going on, would be so much more difficult, and my life would be not even close to as fulfilled as it is now by living out the Catholic faith as strongly as I do.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
What an amazing story. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just for clarification, Becca. So you never really stopped practicing the faith, or did you maybe stop for a while and because of this Focus experience and other things, come back to the faith? Was there a period where it was interrupted at any point?
So no, I wouldn't say there was ever a period where it was interrupted. Like I said, my family is very faithful, and my parents would always, check in on me and everything. And so I would never say that it stopped, but I would say definitely that it was more of something that I was just going through the motions with. You go to Mass on Sundays and just going through the whole process, but not really understanding what it is that this is the Lord that you are receiving, and that we do have this opportunity to receive His abundant graces. And there was that moment where I did realize that, and it was just everything changed, and the whole college scene of, partying and drinking and living without chastity just was not as
attractive,
desirable,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't attractive. And you begin to realize, the faith, some people think it just seems like something that's boring and that you miss out on life and everything. And I've heard people say, well, don't you miss the social scenes and the partying and the drinking and everything? And it's I can truly say no, I do not, because the Lord and the Catholic faith is so much more beautiful and interesting and incredible than any party or anything that you could even live out in college without Him.
Wow, you are amazing. I wish, Becca, I could just bottle you up and send you to every college campus in the world. And I want to thank you. Like you said, you gave a special mention and thanks to Focus. You're right. Focus Ministries do great work on college campuses. We know that. But Becca, I want to go back to something real quickly. We actually have, we can say this because Jerry and I could be, I guess we were old enough to, well, maybe your parents. Could we be her grandparents? I don't know. Could we? We're getting there, Becca. Let's put it that way. But we have a younger listening audience, and there's a lot of folks. There's a high percentage of folks that are going through the motions. It's a good practice and discipline and habit, and it's our obligation to go to Mass. But they're going through the motions, and what if I can say this? what happened to you was like you when you understand it is an awareness that opens up, your eyes, it becomes crystal clear, and it changes the direction of your life immediately when you really understand the presence of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist, body, blood, soul, and divinity, and you grasp it and you welcome it in, and you take it in, you consume it, but you also breathe it forth because you get it now. It relates to everything you do. And so it doesn't, I want you just, if you could, Becca, before we let you go, can you speak to other young men and women in your age bracket on how to enter into that deeper understanding? Because that's the part that people don't know. What's the step like? How do you take that next step? Do you just sit at adoration and hope that that feeling rushes over you, or that understanding, or that light bulb goes off in your head? Could you maybe give just a little bit of a recipe, if you will, for others to enter into that, Becca? What do you think? Anything you can impart?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say is, like, first and foremost, it's really important that if you have a desire to truly know the presence of the Lord in the Holy Eucharist, that you need to first ask him for the grace to understand it, because all graces, come to the Lord, and he won't give them to us unless we are willing to receive. So I would say, to go into prayer, just asking the Lord to open your eyes to know the truth of the Eucharist, and he will give you that grace when the time is right and everything. And then the next thing I would say is definitely make a huge priority out of visiting the sacraments. Especially, we have this incredible gift of holy adoration, and many churches, do have time of adoration, or even just visiting Jesus in the tabernacle. It's so important that if you can't do daily, at least you have a weekly commitment to go and to be with Jesus in the Holy Sacrament, because that is where you'll get to know him, and you'll hear the quiet whispers of his voice just speaking to your heart, and he'll just fill you with love and peace. And that's when I know that, yes, he's present, because a lot of people do have these big aha moments like I had at that conference, but people lose that over time. What it takes is that you have to give a daily yes to say, Jesus, today, I choose to believe in you and to believe that you're present in the Eucharist, and I will go see you and I will go be with you, because if you're not with him, you're not fostering that relationship, and it won't grow the graces that the Lord desires to give to you.
Well, Becca, you have been very truly gifted, and we thank you for gifting us with this phone call. And just the last thing I would say is, I think a lot of times I experienced this myself in my first attempt at college, not at Franciscan University, but I think college-age students just feel like it's sort of a given. This is how you have to behave. This is how you have to live. You look at all those college students on spring break the other day, even with the coronavirus going on, they're just partying it up on beaches and so forth. There's almost this sense of, it's an obligation to live this way. But you mentioned Focus, and the founder of Focus, Curtis Martin, has even written a book, Made for More. And you have found that, Becca. You have found what you're made for, your purpose. You have found that you're made for more than that. And this isn't a criticism of those young people who do those things. It's an invitation to follow the road that Becca has followed. And I hope that anybody listening who's in that age group, or any age group, still kind of waiting, wondering what's God going to do in my life, take that time to sit with him, like Becca said, in prayer and adoration, and it will happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Becca, I have a favor to ask. Since I'm old enough to be your mother, or maybe even grandmother, I have a favor to ask, okay? Please don't make this your first and only call to us. Please check, just call anytime you happen to turn on the radio and we're on. We would love to be able to just journey with you and see this wonderful path, this adventurous path that God's gonna have for you and that's unfolding. And we can learn from you, and you can be, a great teacher to so many thousands and thousands of people, Becca. So if you can, we're not putting any pressure on you, but if you happen to turn on the radio and we're on, feel free to call, okay?
Yeah, no, thank you. That really means a lot. It's affirming to know that, words mean something.
Oh yeah. More than you know, Becca. There's so many people that are lost right now. But it's not just the teens, and it's not just the young adults, Becca. It is 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds. It's every single generation. There's an element of people that just don't know where to really tap into God. And your story, your testimony can change souls. And I'll tell you what, I pray someday, Becca, when your purpose is over in many, many, many years, I hope you live to be over 100 years old, okay? But when you get to heaven, I hope the good Lord says, Becca, turn around and look at all the people that you helped bring in to the kingdom because of your life story. That's my prayer for you, Becca, because you have something to share. Trust me on this one. God's got great plans for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you, Becca, for the call, and best of luck with your studies. And I presume, like everybody else, you're probably studying online, or at least not going to actual classes right now. So you go with our prayers, Becca. Thank you so very much for that call. 833-288-3986, talking about your gratitude for your faith. And maybe somebody has helped you come back to the faith. Maybe you're a lifelong Catholic. Maybe you, like so many of us, you've got this train wreck of a past, and somehow God's grace, woke you up, and you're so grateful for that now. Let's talk about that with Lucy Mary in Cleveland, Ohio, watching on Facebook.